In honor of the Final Four coming up, we are going to just go ahead and do a mock draft, I guess. I don't know. It's college basketball season still. We're going to keep on pushing. I'm going to instead use this new feature where you can just sim the lottery and then you can use it in the mock draft. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. I don't know how long this takes, but it looks like it's going to mix it up a little bit, hopefully. And it does. The Bulls jump up 10 spots and get the #1 pick. So this will just make it a little bit more fun when it comes to just being a draft kind of content, I guess. I don't really know. But let's just go ahead and use it. So I guess it's time now with the first overall pick. The Chicago Bulls, of course, will select Cooper Flagg, the best player in this draft, the most dynamic player in the country, the best player in the country, the best prospect that is in this draft, the best everything. He can do everything. He is everything. If the Bulls win the lottery, this is literally perfect for them. This is beyond perfect. I love this pick for Chicago. The Utah Jazz, we're not going to oversimplify things. The second best player in this draft by, I think, a margin, and then I think it drops to the next tier, is Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. Major point guard potential, major upside on the offensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball, I would kind of like more if I felt like he was more physical on defense. However, he has prototypical size for a point guard, especially in today's game where everything's a bit taller. He can create his own shot. He's very good off the dribble, and I really like him in that Jazz system. It gives them that top tier prospect that they've been looking for. The San Antonio Spurs are now up, and you really want to get a guy who can fit next to Wemby and Fox, who doesn't need the ball in his hands to create. And to be honest, I think that is VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor. He would be literally the perfect fit next to Fox and Wemby. Now, you could argue that you want to go with more of a shooter like Trey Johnson, more of maybe a defender like Ace Bailey, but VJ Edgecombe can be like a Derrick Jones Jr., who is my favorite comp for him year in, year out. I think that he's just a better Derrick Jones Jr. He can come in here, he can make some high flying plays, he can drive at the hoop. He's very much going to be like De'Aaron Fox, but I do expect him to kind of come off the bench in year one. So he would basically be the De'Aaron Fox of the second unit, which I feel like the Spurs wouldn't mind at all. The Charlotte Hornets, we're not going to have Ace Bailey fall any further. I think this is Ace Bailey's best landing spot is Charlotte, just because who's going to play their forward? I mean, Josh Green, Miles Bridges, there isn't really a lot coming the Hornets in the forward position, so why not go with Ace Bailey? He's very good. Who knows? Maybe he's Kevin Durant, or maybe he's just a somewhat better Jabari Smith Jr. I have no idea. But what I do know is that he's going to be a decent NBA player at best. I'm just not the highest on him personally. And yes, I am trying to speed through this mock draft. Most mock drafts are like 30 minutes. Nobody wants to watch a 30-minute mock draft. I'm going to try to sum up why everyone's going everywhere as fast as possible for you guys, but there's no reason for a mock draft to take 30 minutes to finish. Washington Wizards need a true playmaker, and I believe that true playmaker is Kasparas Jakusionis. Now, he does have a turnover problem, and he did have inefficiency issues down the stretch, but he is a very good scorer. He has passing and rebounding upside, definitely a triple-double threat in the NBA. I think he's going to be a dynamic player in this Wizards system. The only problem is the Wizards need to get some vets in there, but him starting at the point guard will help out this development of Alex Sarr. Bub Carrington can run the 6-man. Jordan Poole next to him be okay. They need some defense in that backcourt. I don't know. The Wizards have a long way to go, man. And if they fall outside of the top 4, or even the top 2, it's even longer for the Wizards fans. I feel so bad for them, but yeah, Wizards go with Kasparas Jakusionis. The New Orleans Pelicans, this is a very easy pick. You usually just go BPA, and they're usually inside the top 3, so it's a lot easier. But in this situation, they're actually nowhere near the top 3, and I think you have to go with a shooting guard because CJ McCollum is falling off, and it's a great thing that Trey Johnson ended up right here. The best scorer, arguably pure scorer in this class. Very good at Texas. Really carried them to a chance at making the tournament. Just couldn't bring them all the way home. Trey Johnson, lots of scoring, lots of offense, not a lot on the defensive side. At worst, he's their 6th man year one, but I think he could start over CJ McCollum eventually, who is just getting older and worse, and it's just, they need to move on from him. I think they keep DeJounte Murray. I think him, DeJounte Murray, Trey Johnson, Herb Jones / Trey Murphy, Zion, and then Misi will start next year. We'll see. I don't know. The Pelicans have a lot of thinking to do about their future. The Oklahoma City Thunder end up with the next pick, and I think this is a very, very easy selection for them. They just go with who can be the best player to fit in their system of young 3-and-D wings, and Con Knipple is right here. He's a young 3-and-D wing with a nice jump shot, and he's going to be cheap. By drafting them over and over and over again, they don't have to pay guys like Casey Wallace. They don't have to pay guys like Aaron Wiggins. They don't have to pay guys like that archetype. They can just keep a fresh set coming in and out, and it's just going to break the NBA. The Thunder are literally just going to break the NBA for the next decade. It's going to be awful as a fan, but great if you like the Thunder. The Brooklyn Nets with the 8th pick, you need to bring some excitement to Brooklyn. The Nets need to bring some excitement to their franchise, and what better way to bring excitement than to bring in a new forward player? Asa Newell is an exciting player out of Georgia. I would go with Derek Queen, but you just don't need him with Nick Claxton. Asa Newell, though, young freshman from Georgia, very efficient, very good interior scorer, also plays some hard defense. I would like him over Cam Johnson because I expect him to get traded, and of course your small forward situation is an absolute just who knows what's going on there, but him and Nick Claxton would be some great interior defenders down low. Asa Newell had a great year at Georgia. He's young. He has a lot of potential. Top 10 pick for sure, in my opinion. My favorite team, the Toronto Raptors, are now up, and I have no idea what to expect out of the Raptors next year. But I tell you what I do want if we get here. I want one of these big men. Whether it's Kamen Maluak or Derek Queen, I don't care. But I really am indifferent about them. I think that Derek Queen is sick. I think Kaman Maluak is sick. I think Maluak is the better defender, rebounder. He's like a Clint Capella and that can maybe develop a jump shot. But I'm going to go with Derek Queen. Derek Queen ran so much ISO ball. He has the handle. He has the future mid-range jump shot, hopefully. He's a great finisher around the rim, and he was a star for the Crab 5 out in Maryland this year. He was a phenomenal player. I really would like Derek Queen in the system, but I wouldn't be mad at Kaman Maluak either. I just like Derek Queen more as a center by like this much. The Miami Heat, very, very simple. I think you need a point guard slash forward. There is a lot of ways you could go, though. I think that Kel'el Ware and Bam Adebayo is a fine big man duo, so I really do think that you look more towards a point guard, and especially with Tyler Herro being your playmaker, just get a scorer in there. Jeremiah Fears is a brilliant scorer. He's very good off the ball and with the ball in his hand, and I do think that he could be one of the better six mans in the league, but I think in this situation, you either say six man or have him start alongside Tyler Herro. You could also bring back Davion Mitchell and have Jeremiah Fears come off the bench and get major minutes that way. Either way, he'll put up numbers. He'll score the basketball. He's a good player. The Portland Trailblazers, the hardest team to draft for, it feels like, are now back up, and Deni Avdija looks amazing. Scoot Henderson has not turned into what you want him to be. You still have Shaedon Sharpe. You probably need a forward or a guard. You just don't go with center, in my opinion. I'm gonna go with the guy who can do both. I'm gonna go with Igor Demon out of BYU. Now, this is a major return candidate for me. I do think that he could go back to school. Igor Demon possesses a lot of upside, especially with that 6'9" frame. He can bring a lot to an NBA team, and with a 3-and-D upside, I do like him to maybe, if they trade Anthony and Shaedon Sharpe continues a six-man role, Igor Demon could step into the starting lineup and be another Deni Avdija archetype who can maybe create a little bit too with the ball in his hands. The guard room in Portland and the forward room in Portland both need help. It's just about how the board falls, and at 6'9", he could play shooting guard, he could play small forward, he could maybe even play point guard, maybe even some power forward if you need him to. He's a very versatile player. The Dallas Mavericks. Now, this fall of Kaman Maluak will continue. I'm not going to do any trades in this video, but I will tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them Liam McNeely, freshman wing from UConn. Liam McNeely is just a good system player, and especially at UConn, he was raining in those threes. 6 rebounds a game is also nice at 6'7". He was fairly inefficient though from the field, but from 3 he wasn't that bad. A majority of his shots were from 3-point land, so it does make it kind of harder to judge his true efficiency from inside the arc, but it doesn't look to be the best. I do like him as just another 3-and-D player, and that's what the Mavericks need. They're definitely going to be back towards the Western Conference next year when all their injuries are healed, and I hope the best for them because poor Mavericks fans, man, just poor Mavericks fans. Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks are up next, and you could go a lot of ways here. A lot of ways. There's a lot of things you can do, and the one thing that I'm going to do is probably stop the slide of Kaman Maluak right now. This is basically your Clint Capella replacement with a jump shot and a non-injury prone Clint Capella. I think Kaman Maluak goes a lot higher than this in real life. He's such a good player for Duke. He's going to play in the Final Four against Houston, which should be the game of the week, hopefully. Both of those games are going to be insane. For the people who don't like both the 1 seeds and the Final Four, get over it. It's the 4 best teams in the country going at it. You're going to love it, okay? But Maluak fits right in. He's a good pick and roll center. He can operate down low, block shots. Good for the Hawks system, but I don't think this makes them much better. The Phoenix Suns are not up. I read this. It's the Houston Rockets, and the Rockets, you honestly need some guard help in my opinion, and Nolan Traore can do that. Jace Richardson can do that. I'm going to go with Nolan Traore, playmaking, more of a pure point guard, and I just don't think Reed Shepherd has it. And if he does, he needs to start showing it soon, because from what I can tell so far, if they believed in Reed Shepherd, he'd be playing a lot more than he is right now. Nolan Traore can be a defender, can be a playmaker, knows the game of basketball, high IQ. He brings a lot to an NBA team, a lot that is desired within an NBA organization, and the Rockets getting a lottery pick will only help them as they are second in the Western Conference right now. The Orlando Magic are up, and if you're the Magic, there's a lot of different ways you can go. You really, I feel like, have your front 3 figured out besides center, but there isn't really a center I'd go with right now. Danny Wolf is sick. He's good. Janai Broom, I don't think he's a first-round talent, but he is some player that you could rely on. I do think that there's an argument that Colin Murray-Boyles, you just go BPA, but I'm going to go Jace Richardson, a tournament standout as well, a guy who has willed Michigan State to a lot of wins that maybe they shouldn't have had under this Tom Izzo offense, but I think Tom Izzo is about to be done. I think he might retire this year. The Michigan State's losing a lot of talent to the portal. Jace Richardson should declare for the draft, be a top 20 pick, top 25 pick. It only makes sense for his career and his development, and he's going to develop nicely in Orlando. The San Antonio Spurs are up again. They were forced from with VJ Edgecombe 3rd overall. What do you need here? You probably just need big man help if for some reason Wembanyama goes down. Thomas Sorber is going to be really interesting to see if he goes back to school or not. If he goes back to school, this is different. But if he doesn't go back to school, it's also different because Danny Wolf, I could 100% see going here. He's literally a perfect offensive center. I'm going to go Sorber just off the fact that I think he still will go, even though I think he had a season-ending injury. Or his ACL, maybe. He tore something. Thomas Sorber, though, very good. Prototypical center. He gives you depth and help at center. Right now, the Spurs are just, they don't have a center now that Wemby's hurt. And if Wemby gets hurt next year, you still want to be able to contend for the play-in at least, or the playoffs even. And Sorber helps you do that. The Utah Jazz are up next, and I think this is a very, very obvious pick. You go with Colin Murray-Boyles, the best player on the board, the sophomore. He could return. I would not be shocked if Colin Murray-Boyles just decides, hey, I'm just going to be a 4-year player at South Carolina. They got Trey Eaglestaff. They're having a fine portal. I wouldn't mind a return of Colin Murray-Boyles to South Carolina. We will see, though. More than likely, he does go to the draft, which I couldn't blame him. It's a lot of money to say no. The Minnesota Timberwolves, literally my dreamland pick always is Cam Jones. I think he's a perfect fit in this offense and the defense. You're going to lose some height with Naz Reid this offseason, more than likely, but I'm going to go with Cam Jones, man. This is my dreamland scenario for Cam Jones. In my opinion, he was the player in college basketball this year. I think a lot of people were sleeping on Cam Jones. I think he was just flat out the best player in college basketball. I think without him, Marquette is nothing. And I think that with him, they were a top 7 seed in the tournament and arguably a top 15 team for most of the season. So Cam Jones, I know they had a slide towards the end, but Cam Jones, very, very good lefty shot, fits right in on the bench. And I do like him at point guard, shooting guard, even small forward. The Brooklyn Nets, again, my big thing with Brooklyn is you just want to bring players that can bring some excitement to your team. You want to bring in players that will get fans in the stands. And I think no other player right now besides Boogie Farland does that. People know Boogie Farland came back from the tournament, helped Arkansas get to the Sweet 16 where they eventually lost to Texas Tech. And in my opinion, they should have won that game by a lot. They just folded, they crumbled. He was dealing with some injuries and some inefficiency issues, but he should be a decent player in the NBA level. And I think he's a better option to start over D'Lo because he's young. And Asa Newell should be a fun duo, and they're not done yet in the first round. They still have more picks. The OKC Thunder, again, you just kind of go with like who can help you now, who can be that 3-and-D guy, or I'm gonna mix it up and I'm gonna go with Danny Wolf. When Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein were both hurt, we saw this is my reasoning every time. Your center depth got kind of thin. Danny Wolf's a 7-foot center with playmaking, dribbling, rebounding, completely the offensive package. Now defensively it's different, but offensively Danny Wolf is a very, very good player. I don't know if he'll go back to school. He might. He's a junior. Why not play one more year? I don't know. They got Elliot Cadeau. I don't know what they're gonna do. We'll see what Danny Wolf does. He's probably gonna go to the draft. I wouldn't blame him. He's so good on offense. The Miami Heat are back up. We went with Jeremiah Fears, 10th overall. We are now gonna mix things up. We're gonna go with a bit of height. I think we're gonna go with a forward here. Rasheer Fleming is quite good. I do like Rasheer Fleming. I'm gonna go with a pure defender in Drake Powell. Drake Powell is so good on defense. Literally, you're drafting him for his defense in hopes that a 3-point shot develops. You don't draft Drake Powell for any sort of offensive game. You draft him so you can put him on your best player and just be able to create disruption on the defensive side of the ball, which is what you want at the end of the day from a player like Drake Powell. He can guard 1 through 4. Wouldn't trust him on a center, but 1 through 4 for sure. The Indiana Pacers are absolutely livid that he just went off the board. I'm instead going to go with another guy who brings some defensive presence. Carter Bryant. He does it. It's just 3-and-D, man. Everyone down the board here is going to be 3-and-D besides a few players. Carter Bryant's 3-and-D. He's really good on a spot up shooter, but other than that on offense, it's limited. Defense though, he's an athletic defender. Gets up, gets down the court, moves with good speed. He's a great defender. The Atlanta Hawks 23rd overall pick from the Lakers. I'm going to go if he declares Will Riley. However, I could see him going back to school. Will Riley was a decent freshman this year. He had his ups and downs, a lot more ups and downs though, which is what you like to see. He has prototypical NBA size at 6'8", 180. He can play your shooting guard or small forward. He can create an offensive bag. I don't really like his defensive side sometimes, but he does bring a lot of upside on offense. Would be a fun 6-man like a Karis LeVert that they have right now. There's no reason to pay Karis LeVert or keep him around longer than you have to. The Washington Wizards 24th overall pick. Kasparas Jakusionis went, of course, 5th overall. Who are we going to bring in to help Kasparas Jakusionis? I'm going to bring in Nikke Clifford. Nikke Clifford is just one of the best rebounders under 6'7" in the league, and he is very much a future Josh Hart kind of player, in which if he can get a playmaking bag, this guy's going to be so tough. But he is basically Josh Hart for now. Good scoring, great rebounding at his size. He would be a perfect fit next to Kasparas Jakusionis in the future. He would even be a perfect fit off the bench. Just a guy who can go in there, give you 20 minutes, get you 8 points, get you 5 rebounds, get you 2 assists, shoot somewhat efficient from 3, also play big and strong inside. It's a lot of upside here with Nikke Clifford. The Orlando Magic here at pick 25. I'm going to go ahead and go with Alex Karaban from UConn. Big man, shooting, defense. Pretty simple. 3-and-D, like always. Nets. Again, someone you can be excited about. Ian Jackson, freshman, North Carolina, offensive upside, rocky college career. Him, Boogie, Asa. You're just going to go young, and you're going to hope that these guys develop. Brooklyn needs to capitalize on their picks this year. The Nets, again, we are going to go with another youngster. I'm just kidding. We're not going to go with the youngster. We're going to go with the older guy. We're going to go with Janai Broome to play some backup center for this team. He's the college basketball, one of the best 5 players in college basketball this year. I do think that Janai Broome is going to struggle in the NBA. I don't think his foot speed is that good. I don't think that he's going to be able to do some of the moves that he does. I think that his offensive rebounding game is going to be a lot worse, but he should be a decent backup center in the NBA. The Boston Celtics, let's go ahead and get some size in here. Let's go with JT Toppin. He took over the tournament. I could see him going way earlier than this, to be honest. He's a phenomenal player. Great shot blocker as well. Good rebounder, good scorer. Really willed Texas Tech as far as they did. The Phoenix Suns, if you want to talk about a pick you have to hit on this one. I'm giving them a point guard no matter what, and only one makes sense. That's LeBaron Philon. Jason Sandin I would love, but let's just be honest, Jason Sandin is going to Shane John. It's a Hyde Pettiford is 200 size, and he's probably going to be a full-year college player. LeBaron Philon, he's a decent player for Alabama. That's all I got. And then the Clippers right here, you probably just go BPA, but Ben Saraff is not my BPA. I don't even know what you do if you're the Clippers. There's nothing you can do. You know what? We're gonna go with Tahad Pettiford. Where's Tahad Pettiford? We're just gonna pick Tahad Pettiford just for fun. Get him in there. Great college player, tournament legend. That's it for me. Hopefully the mock draft ends. Yep. And here is the full mock. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Appreciate you guys for watching. Random lottery, and yeah, let's go.